This is your sleepless god making a new what if of what if, actually a Harry Potter what if, mostly because of the game that is now coming out. That if you haven't played it or even watched it, I would obviously show you. Like, this is a really good game, really good mechanics, massive world building, kind of a boring story, but you know how it is. But uh, but for this, I'm gonna do a Harry Potter one just for the people who are the fandom. Obviously, there's lots of room, but uh, rule one though, nothing in the chat about anything that J.K. Rowling has ever said. Please do not do that to me. I know she said some stupid stuff in the beginning. Please do not push that on this. This is not about this at all. This is just me loving a book series and a movie series and a new game that came out, and loving this series so much when I was a kid. So I'm making it what I want. So this is what if Harry was kidnapped as a child, basically. I'll figure out a title really well later. But same thing kind of happens. The Wizarding World goes into a war between the light side, uh, the Order of the Phoenix, and Dumbledore's army, basically Dumbledore's army, and the dark side, Voldemort, and uh, the Death Eaters. But in the middle of it, something bad happens. Something incredibly bad happens. A middle group of something comes up. A massive group of it of a it's to explain this, it's a elitist kind of group that how they what they want to go on is that there is no light, there is no dark, there is just gray. Like, there's no like good side, there's no bad side to this either. Like, they believe that dark wizards are awful human beings that should be destroyed, and that light wizards are too stuck in their ways and they can't be fixed. So there's a bunch of gray wizards. So gray course. Uh, this is a little bit of my universe thing, but I believe this is also canon. There's three types of course in the Harry Potter universe. Light course can do light magic, defensive magic, protective magic. Patronus is one of a light course they can definitely do, and they're very powerful in that magic. They can go into dark magic, but it's harder for them to do. Number one, and it affects them. It affects them a lot. It affects them emotionally and physically. It makes them sometimes weaker unless they get used to it. Dark cores. Dark cores are like Voldemort, and so all of those people, they can cast dark magic, so dark spells like Avada Kedavra, a secret, and a bunch of dark magic. But if they try to do light spells, like uh, just a simple spell uh, that is light related, or even a more complicated spell, they can't do it, or something bad will happen to them. Same side. Gray cores are the middle. These are the people. These are the people that are fighting against the light and the dark. And they can do both. They can do light magic, and they can do dark magic. They're basically the like good at good at everything, but not the best at everything. Not the amazingness. And they start destroying, actually, because of what they do. They actually mixing Muggle technology with their magic, and it was able to actually boost up technology factors, and also boost up what they could do with magic. So what they were doing was making clones of gray core members because of their DNA, or in this pretense, soul. What they were doing was basically making Horcruxes. What would you do is you would cut your soul into half and put it into a basic jar of some sorts. And then that jar will grow into a person. And then that person will have half of a soul. and then they'll go and they'll go and they'll go. And basically, one member can cut their soul to pieces, into pieces and pieces. But the more pieces you cut your soul into, the weaker your magic is. That's why Lord Voldemort, against someone even old as Albus Dumbledore, who didn't have all his greatest magic still, could face him and keep him matched, and Albus could keep Voldemort matched because he cut his own soul into so many chunks. Yeah, you become immortal, but you basically just cut you cut a lot of pieces of your magic away. Uh, this is where we go to Lily and James Parter, part of the biggest Light Corps members. Uh, they, Lily, still has children. Still has Harry, but she actually has a second child. She has twins, actually internal twins. So Harry and a girl. Uh, Harry has very same black hair, and like really, really black hair, like same as the books, very black, and incredibly good at flying. The other girl that she romantically named Rose because of her red and beautiful red hair that she gets from her mother. Uh, Even though she has Harry looks the same, black hair, mom's eyes, beautiful eyes. Rose has different red hair, her father's eyes. Uh, Same thing happens though. They get attacked, but Lily and James and the Auror mixed with the Death Eaters because the Death Eaters and the uh, basically Order of the Phoenix realized if they don't teamwork against each other, they would win. They're going to destroy us. And you know what I mean by destroy, I mean they're going to collapse us. So Voldemort and Dumbledore settled their differences because Voldemort realizes they're both looking for almost the same, because a lot of his strong dark wizards were getting demolished, and same with Dumbledore. Dumbledore is a pragmatic man when he has to be. So Voldemort and him talked it out and said, for the end of this war, till this war's end, we'll work together. We'll work together as a team. We'll work together as parties. But after that, we're done. We're finished. And then we can go back. We will cut ourselves apart. We won't have to fight, but we'll cut ourselves apart. But instead of Lily and James dying, they live. But the consequence of that, Harry gets captured by one of the Grey Wizards, stealing him in particular. And what happens to him after he gets stolen is experiments after experiments after experiments. So they go far, far away, as far as they possibly can, and they make a encampment. There's thousands of millions of trillions of these encampments around the area where they do their cloning process. This encampment is here for scientific experiments. There's also a bunch of those too. They basically do it on Light Corps and Dark Corps members to see, why do we have those? Why do they do those? What could we break those? How can we do that? They also have those with they also have see, because vampires, werewolves, and dementors are also big keys in the wars that have been going on. They've been split a little bit, half and half sometimes. The people who've been ostracized by these people who just wants to rule the world. Some wolves of vampires have went onto the Grey Corps side and wants to destroy the entire everything and just rebuild it, make it better. Say, Dementors don't really have emotions. They just like sometimes uh, half of them went with Voldemort because they believed he was a better decision, and the other half went with the Grey Course side, and that's a uh, the Dark Wizards. They don't want that, mostly because they have no defense. That's also a reason why they joined, because they have no defense against their Dementors. Like, their Dementors on their side, they don't affect them as well. But if they try to suck out their soul, they have no defense. So that's why also Voldemort was like, "Fuck, we have to get people to join us." But Harry was, into most simplest terms, tortured immensely because he was the only experiment there. He was the only person there because they couldn't get any more Light Core kids because the Light Core kids and everyone else were fighting, so they had to kill those people, or they will die themselves, or was gone, was hidden in the background, was hidden in bunkers and all that stuff. Like uh, all the Weasleys, like the Weasley family, like all of them are gone. They're hiding because, except the twins, the his Ron's mom's brothers, they're fighting as well. They're fighting. Uh, one but in the books, they got attacked by dark wizards and fought almost all of them, killed many of them, fought most of them off. So in this war, with the teamwork of the dark wizards and multiple people joining into this, because collapsation is massive, they actually live for. They're pretty up there wizards. They're pretty strong and capable of themselves. So I don't know what's going to happen to them. But what happens is the the Grey Wizards are trying to make Harry basically a mind control subject. So they cast the Unforgivables, except for Avada Kedavra. The only one they don't cast is Avada Kedavra. They cast Sepra Sentra, basically torturing this man, trying to make him so used to that torture spell that his mind does not lose himself when he does. Because he's basically, they're trying to make him the best soldier possible. They're also, because of the mix between technology and magic, they are ability to take his DNA and rip it apart and put more DNA in it to it, like werewolf. But in particularly though, hellhound. They take out that like human half of it. They split that and they just put the hellhound part of it, almost making him an Agamagus. And also vampire. So taking that human part, that because he doesn't want any weaknesses. So that addiction to blood, they take that part out and they just give them the immortality, the super strength, the super speed. Same with the wolves. Not the like we'll turn into a wolf and we'll turn into a wolf and become a blood curdling monster if that happened. But takes that part out, puts in the strength, the speed, and the hellhound part. Uh, they do that with a lot of monsters. Dragons. They they just fucking gave that man a dragon. Because you gotta remember, they're so used to dealing with souls. Because okay, so Voldemort had barely mastery of souls, and he was ability to make himself immortal. These Grey Wizards have been practicing with soul energy and been practicing how to control souls for years. And when I mean years, I mean their entire life most of the time. They grew up like this. So what they do is they start adding souls into Harry. Dragon souls. To basically what the soul energy is your magic. Is how much magic can you hold in your body? Your soul can controls that. That's why there's so much of it. of a difference, and that's why also two Muggle parents can birth a magical child. It's not your genetics; it's your soul. It's different altogether because it is almost random chance, which your soul energy can be. But uh, what is not random-ish is how much magic can you hold. Like, if you, this is why half-bloods are sometimes stronger and faster. Not stronger, magically stronger, I should say. Not physically, sometimes better. Than full-bloods. Hermione Granger is a great reception of that. Fucking Lord Voldemort is a great representation of that. Severus Snape is a great representation of that. These three wizards are half-bloods. Half-bloods or mudblood in some sense. Three Hermione Granger, genius intellect, one of the smartest females in the entire book series. Actually, yeah, like almost like Harry's technically Harry's mom is half-blood. Actually, a mudblood. Her parents are like just muggles, and she's a wizard herself. Harry's an incredibly strong wizard, so it goes into that. But it's almost random chance. If you have two parents that are muggles, it's just random chance where your magic's gonna hit. But if you have two parents that are wizards, it goes in between the two. So let's say your dad has 630 magic. So like he has very strong magic, and your mother has 840. You can have equal to 630, and you can have as much as 845, let's say, as much as your mom or much less as your dad, and you can get in the middle as much as possible, but you can't go over those numbers. But those how squibs goes, because sometimes when you go under those numbers, that's when that's how squibs happens, kind of. You don't go under those numbers. You can't go under those numbers. Just your soul just doesn't become magic anymore. Like you birth a child that's a squib, their soul is just not magic based. That is really rare, but it does happen. It can happen. But that's why also mudbloods or half-bloods can be super powerful, because it's just random. There's no chance. Sure, so they can go to 100 or 1,000. There's no like minimum or maximum. There's just any place it just goes. Just how powerful is your soul? But dragons. Let's go back to the actual story instead of me just talking shit. But dragons, all these magical creatures, they shove their soul into them, and dragons are incredibly strong and almost immortal. We're going with dragons, same as the books, but a little, because we didn't get too much of what the dragon actually lore is. Not in the books, at least. I think there might be more, but we're doing a little bit more D&D dragons because I like those a lot better and they make more sense. So like they do like a bunch of different type of magical creatures' souls. Like a boggart, that he can change his form. A dragon, so yeah, each elemental dragon, fire, water, earth, and all of those, they put their soul inside of him too. And they keep on torturing him, and they're trying to basically get him so used to this pain. And also they try to mind control him. But they fucked up. Because they put so many souls into him, they also put human souls into it. So let's say they captured a light wizard or a dark wizard, they would put him up, grab their soul, and they would grab their basic magic, and they will put it into Harry. Because of that, Harry has every memory of all of those creatures. Because anytime they captured any creature on the other side, it doesn't matter if it's a werewolf, another vampire, a Dementor. If they, I think Dementors can be captured if if they do that, they will take the magic of those creatures and they would put it into Harry. And Harry got started having memories and then visions. And then someone started talking to Harry. That person is named Merlin, the starter of magic, the beginning person of magic. Merlin started trying to, because Harry's like, who? Because he's all trapped in his mind. He was tortured from baby, from when he was an infant, just barely 4 months old, to where he is now. He is roughly 5. So Merlin's trying to basically put him back onto the mental state. And he's talking to Harry. He's like, the first time was like, who are you? Now it's just like, now Merlin's teaching him about everything he needs to know and everything he needs to do. Because like they're casting the mind control spell to get him under mind control. They're casting the torture spell to basically torture him and make him grave and mad. But his body now is so strong and so it's now so basically he can take most of all this magic. He could probably take the Avada Kedavra spell 7 times to the chest and not feel anything. He can't die because of all the things that shoved into his body. He's basically a Horcrux. He is a Horcrux, but he is messed up. But at the age of 6, Merlin finally got Harry to a mental state, to a point where he can leave the mindset so he can deal with the pain. Because you got to remember, Merlin put it into his mind. So Merlin basically grabbed the kid and said, no more pain, no more suffering. Go into your head, no more pain. There's no more pain here. And now he has to go back and deal with all the pain. But Harry escaped. Burned the place to the ground. Killed everyone there. And we gotta remember, he has every memory of everything that he had. He has a memory of all the people, all their souls in his body. He has billions, not millions of souls. Millions to at least 5 million souls in his body from different creatures, different things, different monsters. So he remembers every experiment, every slice, because they didn't put him under. They never did put him under, and they didn't put anyone under. He remembers everything of every experiment, everything that they did to him, and everything they did to any other person that they have. Merlin gave him one more thing. Gave him a sword. And called it Broken Excalibur. It is the second sword that the dragons made for him, for Merlin, to give to not the king. The king gets the Excalibur to a person who will protect the king, but is also a person who is going to deal justice to the evil of this world. As 7-year-old Harry, with red eyes, and his hair is still black as ever, has a sword. It flips and changes and moves to what he wants, and it goes to basically a straight sword, black in color, with red lines like veins across it. As Merlin says, remember, only kill if it's necessary. As he looks at Merlin and he says, I'm going to tell you this, my fine sensei. You've taught me everything I need to know about everything I need. Nature magic, everything. But I will say this. You taught me humility and senses. But I am going to bring my wrath down to everyone who ever touched me and touched these people in my heads. To specify before we end this, nature magic is the nature element that was what you were born with. Same with Naruto. People are born with nature elements, and they're good at that. Instead of with this, though, when you're born with a nature element, you can't cast any other nature element. So it's like, let's say you're like good with water, like good, you have a water nature element. Most people don't know that. Most people use their dark and light ones. Most people don't know their nature element, and people who do, Voldemort and all of those people are above powerful. But so if you're good at one nature element, there's no other ones that you can choose. Most people only get one. Some very rare ones get two. Harry has all of them: fire, water, wind, earth, air, all of them, all of them. Lightning, metal, all of them. Every single one of them, because of the souls, because of the dragons, because of all of them. He has every single one of their nature elements in his body. Now we are going to end this off right here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.